Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome to a new episode of the Social Media Seed. On today's episode, lots going on with Instagram. Will they show likes? Won't they show likes? That is the question. Also, today, with LinkedIn, looking for work or looking to change your career status, LinkedIn has some new features I think will be really, really helpful for you as you make a decision about what you're going to do next as far as getting that next job. Also, today, got to talk about Facebook. We always got to talk about Facebook because Facebook is doing the most because new business suite. I know a lot of you probably are not using the business suite right now, but if you are using the business suite, there's some new features that you need to know about. And last but not least, today we got to talk about Pinterest. We don't talk about Pinterest as much as we should, but today, if you are a pinner, is that what they still call them? If you're a pinner, then there's some new features that you want to know about, especially if you are one of those individuals that one, content creator, and two, you love trying on new things. And I'll tell you what I mean about that coming up next. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. Happy Friday. Happy Friday again. Welcome to a new episode of the Social Media Scene. How is everybody doing? Let's get that music out of here for now. Yep, let's go ahead and fade that out. And welcome. If you are new, I am Alice Fuller, Principal Consultant at Sheer Social. What is Sheer Social? Well, it is my social media marketing training and consulting business. Yes, I do training and consulting and teaching mostly, and I do some social media management as well, but not as much as I used to. But still, that's what I do all day, every day. And what is this? This is the social media scene. This is where every week I give you the highlights of what is going on in the world of social media. So, if you are watching the replay, if you are here live, if you're new, go ahead, do me this one solid today. I'm going to ask you every week. So, you so for some of you, it's the same thing I ask every week. But if you are new, here's what I need you to do. Go ahead, share this stream with friends and frenemies, especially in those places and spaces where conversations of social media are going on. You know, you got that one friend that thinks they know everything about, and I do mean everything about social media, and they need help, but they'll never admit it. It's always that one or two. So go ahead and politely share. Just put this, right under their nose and walk away and hope for the best. Go ahead, share this stream with friends and frenemies. Go ahead and do that. And while you're doing that, let me give you a breakdown of what is going on again in today's show. Today, we're going to talk about Instagram. Goodness, Instagram is getting on my nerve. Make a decision already. But in a minute, Instagram is going to plop it in our laps to make a decision about likes. And I'll tell you what I mean in just a second. Also, today, definitely got to talk about Facebook Business Suite. Now, I know a lot of you probably may not be using the Business Suite, but I need you to kind of take notice, especially if you are using Facebook for Business. Why? Well, I'll tell you that in a second. I don't want to give it all away right now because then you won't listen to the rest of the show. So just hold on a second. I'll tell you. When it comes down to LinkedIn, another platform that y'all are probably sleeping on, and I've been telling you for years not to do so, but LinkedIn right now is giving users, or they don't call them users there, they call them members. LinkedIn is giving its members new ways to identify your job title. I think this one's kind of interesting. With the pandemic being what it is, and we freelancers and things of that nature having, jumping from one job to the next or one project to the next, uh, LinkedIn has decided, you know what? You need a little extra distinction that some other people do not. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. And they also have a new thing called a skills path. For those of you that, work the 9 to 5 and are seeking a 9 to 5, then LinkedIn is trying to hook you up with a way to get that, at least to get that interview. If you can get the interview, you do well in the interview, then maybe you'll get the job. So I'll tell you what LinkedIn is doing with that and what else is going on today. And we got to talk about Pinterest. Why are we talking about Pinterest? Because I want to. No, for real. No, we're talking about Pinterest because Pinterest, like most of the platforms, are trying to keep its users, and they want to give users an incentive to stay and create great content. So Pinterest has launched a new, what do they call it? Creator program or funding program. And I'll tell you about that. And Pinterest has some new augmented reality tools, especially for you that like to try on things. And I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that. So that's the rundown for today's show. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me make sure everything is working as it should. Hold on, I gotta do a tech check right quick in real time, because I'm getting some indication quite possibly that everything is not going as I think it is. But let me check for a second. This is why you should have an extra monitor. That's not your phone. One day we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise you. We will get there. So let me check one little thing here just to make sure everything is going as I think it is. Oh, and it is. Wonderful. Okay, so I am being seen and I am being heard. Wonderful. Okay, so let's go. Let's run this. Let's run this puppy right quick. So for those of you, hey, don't be shy. Please don't be shy. Go ahead. If you got comments, got questions, pop those puppies right there in the comment section. If you're watching here on Facebook, if you're on the Twitter or the YouTube, go ahead and pop your questions there too. If you want to, that's fine. I have no problem with you going ahead and engaging with me wherever you are seeing me right now, because I'm a little bit of every place. I know sometimes it's not good to be spread out. I know. But hey, we're trying new things, trying to be different places, testing new things. So just work with a sister for a second, please. All right, I'm pushing a couple of buttons because I know you're like, what in the world is she doing? I'm pushing buttons because not only am I the producer, not only am I the talent, I am also the director and the technical director and the PA. Okay, so the PA being the production assistant. So let's get into the first story of today. Let me go ahead and see if my clapboard is ready. Is she ready? Yeah, bam! All right, let's do this. So we're going to talk about Instagram. When we start talking about Instagram, Lord have mercy. Instagram, please make a decision. We've been going back and forth with Instagram for the last, 3 years or so about these likes. Are you going to show the damn likes or are you not, Instagram? What you going to do? Make a decision. But this time, Instagram is giving us the power to make that decision. Imagine that. So, what Instagram is testing, now, I do say testing, because if I tell you that everybody has access to this, you don't. No. Of course, they are still testing this with a select group of people, and I'm usually not in that select group of people. And I'm not mad about it. Not at all. So, Adam, I don't even know how to say his last name. Mazzari? If I'm saying your name wrong, Adam, I apologize. I just don't hear it often enough. I see it aplenty. I just don't hear it said enough. So he is the guy who runs Instagram, and he's officially confirmed that there is a new test that will enable Instagram users to choose whether they display post likes or not. It's on you. It's not on the platform. It is on you. And this is not just for influencers either. This is for those that are in the test. If the test goes well, then maybe we will all have access to this. But as of right now, I don't know how many people are in the test either. But what they officially say is this, or what he officially says is this. He says, we're testing a new option that lets you decide the experience that's best for you. Well, that's nice. Whether that's choosing not to see likes on anyone else's post, turning them off on your own post, or keeping the original experience. So I'm going to read that again. So basically, what they are testing is this, giving us, the users of Instagram, the power to do three things. One, turn off likes on our own posts, okay, whether you're an influencer or not. Also, anyone else's post. If you don't want to see likes on anybody's post at all, you can do that. Or just keep the original experience. So you got three choices if you are in this test. Okay, if you're in the test. So once again, this may not be available to everybody. I suspect right now this might be available to their, their bigger influencers, maybe some of the micro, maybe some nano, how we give names and titles based on how many thousands of followers you have. If you're not in this test, then keep waiting on it, because we keep going back and forth with what Instagram is deciding to do. I just want them to make a decision either way. So we don't really even know which region will get this test, whether it's going to be in the States, whether it's going to be somewhere, in the UK, but they're saying, hey, we'll provide that information soon, just hold on. And they're also looking to do this on Facebook. Now, we know Facebook owns Instagram. Would it impact your experience? Would you still like the same posts, or the same type of post, if you did not see that someone else had liked it first? We're always preaching about this thing about social proof. It's like being at the club. Nobody wants to be the first to dance. 3 drinks in, somebody hits the floor, and now everybody feels, if they can dance, we can dance. Social proof. But the thing is, the platforms are kind of pushing us or persuading us now to create content that's not dependent on whether somebody else likes it or not. Okay? At this point, you should know your audience well enough to know, and you also should know what works for the algorithm too, so that you can create content that inspires people to engage with it, whether other people have or not. So that's where we are with the Insta and Gram. Instagram, please go ahead and make a decision. Just make a decision already. Do something. Because this going back and forth every couple of years is old now. And I'm probably not just speaking for myself. It's old. Can we just make a decision? Not we, because you didn't ask me jack. But can you make a decision on what you're going to do about the likes, so we can move on with our lives? Goodness. All right. So let's move on to other news, because there's more news to discuss. Yes, discuss. Yeah, I am kind of disgusted with this haggling back and forth with Instagram, but there is more news to discuss. So let me go ahead and get my clapboard together. And clapboard, are you here? Are you still here, clapboard? There she is. Yes, I said she. Get over it. All right. Moving on to the next story of this here day. Let's talk about Facebook. Now, I told you last week, Facebook was doing the most with getting rid of Facebook analytics. I know for some of you, you may not give a beep, but for some of you that are using it for business, you're using Facebook for business. You understand that at the end of the day, you need the analytical to make decisions about the content you're going to post, when you're going to post it, whether your content is working or not, all of that. And Facebook analytics, your insights, and that extra tool, the audience insights, that was really great for figuring out who to target with ads. Give you a little bit more insight in what the audience you're aiming to target, what other things they may be interested in. Insights, as well as the audience tool, the audience insights tool, commonly known as Facebook Analytics, they are going away June 30th. Remember that, June 30th. That is the deadline for you to go ahead and download any data, whatever you want on the back end as an admin of a page. You got till June 30th, because after June 30th, you're going to be pushed into Business Suite. Now, here's what I think is going on the Facebook side. Now, Facebook, Zuckerberg, he doesn't have my ear and I don't have his. However, if you've been watching what's been going on over the last couple of years, Facebook has the Creator Suite, and now it's got the Business Suite. Confusion, and more confusion. So you've got the Creator Suite, you've got the Business Suite, and you've also got Event Manager, which is something that's often used when you are working with ads and conversions and things of that nature. Okay. Not to say that the Creator Studio is going anywhere yet, but just don't be surprised, because a lot of what you can do in Creator Studio, Facebook is now giving to the Business Suite. Okay. So the Creator Studio is pretty much open to any and everybody. You don't have to have, quote unquote, a fan page per se to have access to the Creator Studio. But if you are using Facebook and you're using Instagram and you want to post to both at the same time, that's cool. You could schedule things at the same time. However, you could not schedule stories in Creator Studio. You can do that now with the Business Suite. Okay, I know confusion, because I know a lot of you are still using the Creator Studio and you are probably not savvy yet with the Business Suite. And I would dare say right now is the time to go ahead, and if you are an admin of a page or pages, you are an admin of a group or several groups, you are indeed using Facebook for business purposes, now is a time to go ahead and set up your Business Suite, get the app on your phone and everything, because I dare say in a minute, it wouldn't surprise me if Creator Studio goes or gets folded somehow into Business Suite, because for a lot of people, it's creating confusion as to where to go to schedule your posts. It's a little redundancy to a degree, but as of right now, if indeed you are a Business Suite user, and some of you probably are, you got some new features. You can schedule stories. Yay! Stories for both Facebook and Instagram. Okay? So, Business Suite users, this is new for you. Not necessarily new for people who are creating posts in the Creator Studio. However, you don't get everything that you want to do in the Creator Studio either. Okay? Now, your scheduled post, if you're using the Business Suite, will be displayed on a content calendar in the Business Suite app. Okay? This is good because you want to be able, for those of you that are scheduling your stuff weeks in advance. A lot of social media managers, we schedule things sometimes a month out. I like to be at least 2 weeks out. But for those of you that want to schedule things 30 days out, this is good. Now, like I said before, Creator Studio versus Business Suite. Could you do some of this in Creator Studio? Yes and no. In the Creator Studio, you can schedule your feed, And you can schedule your videos as far as IGTV. But scheduling stories is still not an option. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. Here's why I think in many instances, Facebook is not pushing scheduling of stories in the Creator Studio. The whole gist of stories was for you to do things in real time, especially with Instagram. It's called Insta for a reason, okay? As opposed to Pinterest back in the day. Pinterest is for your aspirations. Instagram is for what you're doing right now. Although Instagram has become a place where people are posting, quote unquote, what they aspire to have and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, Instagram is still the place that is meant to be in real time, what's happening in your life right now, not necessarily what's going to happen, 5 years, 2 years, or however long in the future. Okay? Creating stories is supposed to be a reflection of what is going on right now. So Facebook doesn't want you, nor does Instagram, want you to become so automated in your content creation for Instagram nor Facebook. Facebook especially, because Facebook, of course, wants you to be on the platform all day. Instagram wants pretty much the same thing, but when you're creating your content, they want you to be more real time so that it's fresh. It doesn't look rehearsed. It doesn't appear as if you did schedule it, way in advance and you have automated everything. Because the minute you get really engrossed in automating everything, you have a tendency to walk away and only check on it every now and again. And that's what Facebook and Instagram, well, technically any social media platform, they don't want that. All right. So here's another thing that's going on with the new business suite tools. If indeed you are using ads, you want to leverage ads, there is going to be a new conversion goal for lead ads. This time, you'll be able to optimize for leads most likely to convert, not just for leads themselves. Big difference. Because we know Facebook knows exactly what we're going to do seemingly before we're going to do it based on previous data. So this new conversion lead goal for lead ads will enable you as an advertiser to optimize for leads, or basically people who are most likely to convert, which is good. Okay, that's a good thing. So you're not just doing it just to get leads, just to get people in your opt-in box, but people who might actually convert, which is good. All right. Now, the other thing you're going to get, the option to convert lead ad forms into messenger templates. Okay, I've been telling you for years now, Facebook is really pushing us to use messenger apps, and this is one more extra way to do that. So once you get the lead through your conversion, now you can have a nice little follow-up template with Messenger so that you can go ahead and start the real conversation with them in Messenger. Why wait? In other words, if you have the ad, they basically give up their email, their phone number, whatever else. Okay, cool. Now you have a lead. And now with Messenger, you can follow up, ask them certain questions, get more information, get more data from them so that you can make a more customized approach to whatever it is their need is. So that's good too. Now, here's the other thing, third thing and last thing. You'll have new call ads. Call ads. In other words, you'll be able to put a call to action that says call now. Not call me now, but call now. I think that's a plus and a negative. What's the plus and the negative? Okay. On one end, when you're looking at your Facebook ads, and it's, you do want to follow up with leads. And one way to do that is to, hey, you know what? Let's make this a phone call. If you're really interested in this offer, give us a call right now. That's going to work for certain things. Indeed it is. But some of us, you already know, we don't want to be contacted immediately. We don't want to call an advertiser immediately. We don't mind the email because we know the email is coming. But some of us probably don't want to give up our phone number, even though it's already on Facebook. But a lot of us probably will not be that eager to give up or even interested to call a company immediately. But some of you, depending on the product, depending on the ad, depending on the service, you just might. So this could be a good thing for businesses that will literally be sitting by the phone and waiting for that phone call, probably, at a certain amount of time. Because I can't see this working 24 hours, but you can schedule your ads, to just run a certain amount of, within a certain scheduled time. And if indeed you are available, your office hours, and you want to sit and run those ads from 2 to 4, and you want to be by the phone, okay, cool. Why not? And I said by the phone because I'm so old school. But if you've got, a landline for a business, or if you're using your mobile phone, whatever it may be, this may work for you. Go ahead, knock it out. That's what you want to do. But I suspect a lot of people with Facebook, especially with this new breach that Facebook says didn't happen but happened. I know you probably haven't heard about the big breach that happened a couple of days ago with Facebook and LinkedIn. Both Facebook and LinkedIn are trying to downplay it, saying that it was, only information was scraped that was already, readily available and all of that. They're really trying to downplay it. But at the end of the day, the more info that you provide with Facebook, the more data can be hacked. It is what it is. And that's true for any social media platform. Okay. So let me show you this, because what I want you to see here is there's an example here. Let me see what example this is. Hold on. That's not the example I want you to see. The example I want you to see is not that one. I want you to see this. And this is in the business suite. So some of you just might be interested in using this. Okay, hold on. This is what scheduling posts will look like in the business suite. Okay, I'm over here on the Facebook website, or blog rather. Now, this is the call now ad. As you see there, you got the ad sponsored. It says call now. You click on the call now and you get a number to call. Okay? Cool. So that is the news for the day for Facebook. Good news, I think, for some, confusion for others, as far as, do I use the business suite? Do I use Creator Studio? Why is there a need for both? Okay. But hopefully for those of you that are still using Facebook for business, you'll figure it out. you do. That's why you hire people like me to help you do so, and so be it. All right, so let's move on because there's more news to talk about. Let's move on now to LinkedIn. When it comes to LinkedIn, and I've been telling y'all for years, especially now in the last year or two, don't sleep on LinkedIn. Don't do it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it? Because, yep, what we're going to do talking about LinkedIn is we're trying to get people hired. Because I know in the middle of all of this chaos and pandemic, this and that and the other, a lot of you have lost jobs, or you've been laid off, or you've decided to make a career change. You ain't going back to that cubicle life. You're not going back to that office life. And I'm hearing that a lot. So you may be deciding, okay, I'm ready for a career change, or you might be ready just for a new job. So now is a time to really take notice of what is being offered by LinkedIn. Now, the LinkedIn is providing some new job titles. Now, this I think is really, really interesting. Really interesting. So, some of the new job titles are being provided, LinkedIn says, to help address the career gaps in your profiles. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, you had a big year from 2020 to 21. You didn't work. What's that all about? Can you say pandemic? Or pre-pandemic, maybe you had a hiatus in your resume, which happens. Especially for those of you that work 9 to 5. That is especially for those of you that are working the traditional 9 to 5 jobs. That can sometimes work against you having gaps in your resume. For those of us that have worked freelance forever and a day, uh, how we structure our resume is a little different, especially if you work in entertainment, but that's a whole nother conversation. So I think this is going to be really helpful for some of you that indeed have gaps in your employment. And some of these new listings will kind of provide what LinkedIn says some transparency in your professional experience, like this. One of the new job titles they are introducing is called Stay at Home Mom. That's a job title. It is now on LinkedIn. Indeed, it is. Very important one, too, in life, as we know. So, or you're a stay at home dad, stay at home parent. This will allow, LinkedIn says, full time parents and caretakers to more accurately display their roles. But the thing is about that, this says stay at home dad, stay at home parent. If you are taking care of your parent, it doesn't say stay at home caretaker. It just says, well, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But at the end of the day, if you are a caretaker, I don't see something on here yet that says I am taking care of an elderly parent, thus I work from home. I'm seeing I'm a parent of a child and thus I stay at home. Okay, you may have, if you get the interview, you may have to explain all of that. But at the end of the day, stay at home dad, stay at home mom, stay at home parent is what what they're pushing right now. And there may be more, but I haven't seen them. Okay. So if you use one of these new stay at home job descriptions, set the employment type field to self employed. That might work for you, especially for those of us in the gig economy. I know a lot of you now have been forced into the gig economy. So now you are indeed self employed. Wonderful. So you can now use that as a job title. And you won't have to specify a company or employer. Big ups to LinkedIn. Okay, you know what, LinkedIn? Just for this alone, I'm gonna give you a little love on this because this is overdue. This is a little overdue. This is good. This is good. This is good. Okay, that's enough. All right, you don't need all of that. All right. So this is a sign of the times we are currently working in, and LinkedIn is evolving with the times, which is wonderful. Because I would be willing to bet even Facebook jobs, for those of you that are using that section of Facebook, they probably don't have this yet. They will now. But but this is great for those of you that are self-employed, for those of you that are stay-at-home parents, stay-at-home mom, dad, you can now use that as a job description on your LinkedIn profile. They're also looking to add a new field specifically for employment gap types like parental leave, family care, sabbatical. This is cool too. So that once again, you can add some transparency to your employment or your professional journey. So big ups with LinkedIn on that. But there's more to talk about. So that's one thing. That's one thing. The other thing LinkedIn is doing, which I think is pretty good, I just heard a pop, which means somebody had a question or a comment. Questions or comment. Oh, hey, Curtis. Hey, Yolanda. Looking in. All right, cool. Wonderful. Talking about LinkedIn still, this new skill path. Now, for those of you that are, doing the traditional 9 to 5, I think this is a good tool for you to really explore. What is the new skill path? The new skill path is, well, first, before I even do that, let me do this. Let me show you what the new job titles are going to look like for you stay-at-home individuals, okay? So, look at this. Check this out. Oh, browser, please. As you can see here, Sarah King is a stay-at-home mom, and she went to Golden Bay State University in Phoenix, Arizona. She got 500 connections, yada, yada, yada. Now, this is, of course, on the mobile app that you're looking at, okay? And that's the one thing. So I think this is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Now, the other thing that LinkedIn is doing, which I think is pretty cool, is this new skills path. It's a process, technically, they're calling a path, that will enable employees, not employers. Well, yeah, let me say it correctly. It will essentially enable employers to add a test to help candidates display basically your aptitude for a certain job. Now, that might come off as a negative for some of you, but maybe not, because if you have taken certain certifications, especially during the pandemic, you are online. Now you've got a new certification, you got this and that and the other, and you probably could take a small test and pass it with flying colors. This is good for you. LinkedIn says they've been testing the process with a range of business partners, including Citrix, Gap, Ralph Lauren, Wayfair, and a couple of other businesses. With the skills path, they're going to kind of push you toward taking a LinkedIn learning course, which of course helps LinkedIn out to a degree. With the LinkedIn learning course and then the skill assessment, which is basically what they're calling this test, a recruiter can, basically evaluate and see who is a better, I don't want to say a better fit, but for lack of a better phrasing, who's a better fit for the job based on their skills that have been expressed through this skills path on LinkedIn. Okay. I didn't want to get into, what's a good fit, because there's great debate around that phrasing. But at the end of the day, you are given an opportunity to take a little mini course through LinkedIn, take the course, then you'll get an assessment, a skills assessment. And then from there, a recruiter will be able to decide if they want to bring you in for an interview. Now, of course, you're only going to take the course that's listed in the particular job ad, okay? It's not like they're going to give you a course or suggest taking a course that ain't got nothing to do with the job that they're advertising for. You don't have to worry about that. But the suggested LinkedIn course will be listed in the job ad. And then you'll also have the skill assessment test. You will submit a video. Now, I know a lot of you was like, oh, see, I was good. And but that right there is where you lost me. I'm not doing a video test. I'm not submitting a video. Here's the thing. Before you run away. Here's the deal. And this is something I've been saying for years. And this is true as far as where social media is going right now. Video is the hot thing right now. It has been that way for the last couple of years. More companies are beginning to rely on video to screen applicants for jobs. This is the way things are going. So if you are shying away from doing video interviews, if you're shying away from submitting a video for a job, I got news for you. Um, you might be unemployed a little longer than you expect, depending on what kinds of jobs you are looking uh, to apply for. Because at the end of the day, you got to evolve, people. And when it comes to video, more and more companies now are doing video interviews. And I was talking about video interviews, what, 4 or 5 years ago? And if you don't believe me, I got the YouTube video to show you. It's old. It's old now. But at the end of the day, a lot of you, because of the pandemic, you're being forced into doing things a new way. Video is a new way. And I don't think, in all honesty, that they're setting you up to fail. The recruiter, with LinkedIn's help, is telling you what course to take for the job. You take the course, and no, they're not charging you for it or anything. Then you get a skills assessment. Hopefully, there's not a lot of time for you to forget whatever you learned in the course. You take the skill assessment, then you submit a video, and then they'll decide whether they want to bring you in for an interview. I know that's not how we're used to doing it. I get that. But this is how we're doing it now. So I hate to say it, but now is the time to evolve, people. You got to stay up with what's popping right now. And I'm especially talking to individuals who are the 40s, the 50s, late 30s, and you've grown accustomed to doing things a certain way. Times they are changing, and you got to change with them. Okay, that's just is what it is. Okay. But my question with this is, will this do away with resumes? Will we do away with resumes? Because technically, resumes are still that little piece of paper you fill out. Okay, you put all your little whatever on it. And we know that, people over the years have massaged some of the things to make themselves look a little better on paper with resumes, and even with LinkedIn. But even with this new skills path, they're going to cut through a lot of that hyperbole that you put on LinkedIn and on your resume. So my question is, will resumes eventually be antiquated? It'll be, you know what, we're not even going to bother with that. You just take this test, the skills test. If you pass the skills test, you took the course, and then you submit a video, boom, bam, boom. That's how we'll figure this thing out. That's what I want to know. So if y'all got any 2 cents on whether you think LinkedIn is really pushing us toward phasing out some of the old ways we used to do things to get jobs is a good thing, or you think, nah, they're moving a little too fast, they need to slow down, asking people to do video or submit a video for a job. That's no. I don't know. That's a no-no. All right. So that is the LinkedIn story for the day. Now let's move on to Pinterest. Pinterest, Pinterest. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this right here. Let's go ahead and move on quickly so we can wrap this puppy up today. So come on. And there we go. Bam. Let's move on now to Pinterest. When it comes to Pinterest, I know we don't talk about Pinterest as much as we should in many cases. Pinterest years ago said it didn't consider itself a social media platform. It was more of a search platform. And you know what? They're not too far. We often talk about Google search, we talk about YouTube search, but we really don't talk a lot about how robust the search is on Pinterest, especially when it comes to products. And we should, because here's the reality of things. Before Instagram was even a thing, Pinterest was already doing a shoppable pins so that you could basically make purchases, not necessarily on Pinterest. It would take you to a website or whatever else, but they were way ahead of the game when it came to providing some form of e-commerce through a social media platform. So, Curtis, you ask, is a LinkedIn subscription required? No. To take the skills test and all of that? No. All of this is through the free platform. It does not require, upgrading your LinkedIn at all. You say, so you also ask, you say, does the skills path rank potential job candidates in getting hired? Now, that's a good question. You know what? Here's the thing. Put yourself in the recruiter's position. If you indeed were, hiring for a job and you wanted to, weed through, say you got 100 applicants or over 100 applicants, and you're looking at spending a lot of time looking at resumes, but you have a tool that will allow you to kind of weed through all that extra and get a real good idea whether an individual is good for a position that you have open. Would you not give them a little extra push if everything goes well? They take the skills assessment test, they took the course, they submitted a video, and with that video, you could see, hey, this is somebody we want to bring in for an interview. You got to admit, yeah, you probably would rank them a little higher in, who you call first as far as bringing them in for an interview. Now, will LinkedIn rank them higher? I don't think LinkedIn cares either way as far as that's concerned. But LinkedIn is just providing the tool for recruiters to use. You as a recruiter, as a, HR or whatever else, you get to decide if the people that are using the LinkedIn skills path get that priority over people who do not. Okay. But I think it's a great tool. I really do. I'd be surprised if a lot of recruiters don't use it. I'd be surprised too if more and more people are not being asked to do video interviews, because it used to be, can we schedule a call? The phone interview. We just forget the phone interview. We going straight to the video interview now, and then we'll decide the next steps in many cases. All right. So back to Pinterest. Okay. So when we start talking about Pinterest, Pinterest indeed has probably one of the most robust search engines I'd say of all the platforms. And it's been that way for years. We just don't talk about it as much as the other platforms, because the other platforms stay in trouble all the time. So they seem to be front of mind for us. But LinkedIn has a great search too. Since I just talked about LinkedIn, that's good too, but not necessarily for products. And for products, YouTube, of course, Google owns YouTube. They have a great search. But when it comes to Pinterest, and especially with e-commerce, definitely Pinterest is somewhere you might want to explore if you are looking to buy and if you have a product to buy. So first, though, Pinterest has announced a new $500,000 funding program. That's a lot of money. Cha-ching. That's a lot of money. They're going to provide this chunk of money, this funding program, to provide support for creators from underrepresented communities. Every person of color knows when they hear underrepresented communities, knows that's code. And I said it. We all know the code words when they're talking about us, or to us, but don't want to say what racial ethnicity what they're trying to say. They don't want to. They want to lump things into one big old group. They don't want to say person of color, or they don't want to say, well, underrepresented communities, which also could include women too in many instances, but that's a whole nother debate and conversation. Now, for this first cohort, this first little program, they partner with creators from, as they say, diverse backgrounds. Once again, code word. from the worlds of fashion, photography, food, and travel. Okay, I see you. They went through training. They got some creative storytelling consulting, and they got budget. They got money. That's right, for content creation and ad credit, so they can do some ads. All right, Pinterest, we see you. All right, cool. Now, who these individuals are, that information I do not have. But Pinterest is saying, hey, we're going to extend the program and will continue to work with creators from minority backgrounds. That's the word they could have said from the start, but you know what? They had to kind of ease their way into saying what they really wanted to say. Okay, so the program will continue to work with minority people from content creators from minority backgrounds. And Pinterest says with a stated commitment within the plan to ensure that 50% of the creators taking part in this initiative are from underrepresented groups, because that also could mean uh, I'm a LGBT. Did I say it right? Yeah, that also is an underrepresented group too. So this is good. This is great, because once again, like I said before, we often overlook Pinterest when it comes to social media, when it comes to content creation, and when it comes to e-commerce, because there's so much buzz around the other platforms. But now is a time, I think, to look at Pinterest with a whole new perspective. All right. So here's the other thing. Now you've got the program, which is wonderful, the funding program. But I also want those of you who are content creators of color, especially those with melanated skin, highly melanated skin, dark skin. Okay, so let's just put it plain, dark skin. I want you to see too that Pinterest is doing some good things and making sure that a lot of the products that they are allowing companies to sell look good for darker skinned individuals. So, in case you haven't heard, Pinterest was probably ahead of the game too in augmented reality for some things. Years ago, they did a thing with Target where you could go in the store. You had the Pinterest app. You could scan a product, and if something similar was on the Pinterest platform, it would pop up, and if it was for sale, you could buy it or find something similar to it. So again, Pinterest has been in this game a minute. We just haven't been talking about it as much. So Pinterest has an AR tool called Try On. You fashionistas, I know you spend a lot of time on YouTube. I know you spend a lot of time on the gram. Some of you might be spending time on the TikTok. Okay, fine. Some of you just might want to break out from what the crowd is doing and head over to Pinterest, because this AR tool to me is the business. And I want you to see how it really can impact how you decide if you're going to buy somebody's makeup. So in this particular instance, this AR tool, the try on tool, they did it initially for lipstick, and now they have it for eyeshadow. Check this out. Look at this. Come on. There you go. Check this out. Highly melanated sister there. Okay, wonderful. And look, now there's the product, the eyeshadow, blue eyeshadow. I always think of the 70s when I think of blue eyeshadow. It's what, $20? Okay, cool. But before you buy it, you want to see, how it works with your skin tone. Now look at this other example here. You get to decide which skin tone best fits you. And then you get to see examples of people who look like you with the similar skin tone with that eye shade on. That's bomb, people. You can't, you know what? Pinterest, you're going to get this. Take all of this right here. Take all of this. Take all of it. Take all of that. 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 Now I know some little social media news person is in the background saying, well, they had some problems with a couple of, some racial issues, and yes, I know. I saw the headline too. I saw the story and read it too. I know all of that. But at the end of the day, hopefully they're resolving that issue. But on this end, not on the back end, as a company, which they're resolving or have resolved, but on the consumer end, the user end, this right here is beautiful. Okay, it's beautiful. And not only did they do this with the eyeshadow, they've also, like I said before, they did this with the lipstick. The lipstick, because once again, when you got a certain skin tone, not every color necessarily pops with your skin tone. So here you have it. The try on. This is with, let me show you this. Bam. There you go. Look at that. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. You see the product. You see how much it is. And then you get to see people who have a similar skin tone as yours and what that color might look like. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Whoever thought this up at Pinterest. Okay? Big ups to you. All right. So that's the show, people. That's it. It's a wrap. It's a done deal. It is time to go about your day. Got questions, comments, concerns? Put them right there in the comment section. I'll get to it as soon as I can. If it's a question about and I can't solve all your problems, but I can address some of your social media issues. Okay, so just keep it to the topic at hand. Also, if there is something you want me to talk about on the social media scene, let me know that too. Let me know that too, because I can't know everything. I'm knowledgeable, but I'm not omniscient, which means all-knowing. Yes. So at the end of the day, if you got something you want me to talk about on the social media scene, or if you think you want to be a guest and want to share a virtual seat on the show, let me know that too. I'm always happy to have somebody else to talk with on the show. That's it. It's a wrap. And today I actually have, that's it. Got my clapboard. It's a wrap, people. Check the gate. I think the gate is fine. I know y'all like, what in the world is check the gate? That's just an old school term, filmmaking term that says, look to see if what we recorded, is it there? Does it look okay? Does it look fine? If so, it's a wrap. And technically, it's a wrap. So have a great weekend, everybody. Please be safe out here in these streets, okay? If you are going to get the COVID vaccine, now that it's open to everybody in many cases, go ahead and do that. But please, let's still be mindful that, let's not go crazy. Baby steps. Just be careful out here in these mean streets. And I say that selfishly because I do want you to come back and watch the show next week. Okay? Have a great weekend, everybody. I will see you next Friday. Bye-bye.